Hi guys, and welcome to World Tanks Review. I'm Buddy1927, and today I'm on the test server for patch 9.5, and today I'm reviewing the Tier 9 British tank destroyer, the FV4004, the Conway, which is the Tier 9 tank destroyer in the new British tank destroyer line. I've enjoyed playing this tank so far. I've yet lost in this tank, so I'm actually doing pretty good. Since I've been on the test server, I've had to reload the test server 4 times. So this crew only has 1 battle on it, but I've played about 6 or 7 battles in this tank, and I've won every one and survived every one on this. So this tank is actually a pretty good tank. I've enjoyed playing it so far. It's very maneuverable for a tank destroyer. I'll tell you that much. And it's actually pretty quick for a tank destroyer in the Tier 9 section. Of course, being British, if the gun fires pretty accurately and also pretty quick, it has a quick reload on it. So it's actually pretty good there. Let's go over the tech tree real quick on this tank, and we'll show you how to get there. Now, there's 2 ways you can get to this tank with the new British tech tree. You start off with the medium 1, which is the Tier 1. Then you can go down to the Cruiser 1, Cruiser 2, to the Valentine. Then you start the new British tank destroyer line, which you start off with the Tier 5 Archer, the Tier 6 Archelaus, the Tier 7 Challenger, the Tier 8 tank, and you end up here with the Conway, the FV4004 Conway, and you end up to the Tier 10, which is the FV4005 Stage 2, which is this gun with this tank with a bigger head on it. It's basically what it is. So you do have some choices of what you can and can't do on this tank. Let's take a look at the Conway and see how it comes equipped. You only get 1 gun selection, which is a Tier 10 gun, which is the 120mm gun, which I'll go over a little bit. You end up, once you get everything researched, you end up with a Tier 10 radio, Tier 10 engine, Tier 9 set of tracks. You end up with a Tier 9 turret, and you end up going to the tank. Let's take a look at the specs of this tank. A little them up for you. Okay, we have 1,500 hit points, which is about average for a Tier 9 tank. Horsepower is 950. Top speed on this is actually pretty good at 35 kilometers per hour for a Tier 9 tank destroyer. That's pretty good. Traverse speed about average, 28 degrees per second. Hull armor. Now, this tank does not have armor. It's much like the German turret line, doesn't have much armor. This has 76 in the front, 50 in the sides, and 38 in the rear. The turret has a lot more at 132, 95, and 36. We'll go over the gun a little bit later. The turret traverse speed is 16 degrees per second, which is actually pretty slow. View range on this is 380 max and 750 meters max on the signal range. So that's the tank. Let's take a look at again, we'll go over the armor here. Now, the front armor has front hull has 76 millimeters of armor in the front. Okay, but it also has good slope on it, so it will help make it a little bit thicker. But as you can see right here on the front, you got this little gun port there. You got this big hatch right here. Oh, that's a driver's port, sorry. You got this big hatch right here, which makes it a weak spot. You got this hatch right here, which makes it a weak spot. The turret front has 132 millimeters of armor, which is pretty thick. It's slightly angled, not angled much, but you can easily knock out the turret. Actually knock out the gun pretty good. So you got to be a little leery of this. Now the side hull armor, not much, 50 millimeters of armor thick, and it's all at 90 degrees, as you can plainly see, so that's not going to help you much. The side of the turret, 95 millimeters of armor, and as you can see, it's angled and sloped a little bit. This is a 90 degrees, but it's angled here and sloped up a little bit, so it's not too bad. Now this rear, let's talk about the hull itself. You only have 38 millimeters of armor. See, your car has more armor here than this tank does. Another very weak spot on this tank is this huge door. Any shot in that door, you're dead. So that's one of the drawbacks of this tank. You have this huge door, not much more protection in the back, so you definitely want to protect your rear on this tank as much as possible. So let's go over the specs of this tank. Oh, we already went over the specs of this. Let's go over the gun on this tank. I'll get it straight, guys. Here we go. This is the gun 120 millimeter AT gun L1A. Since I've been accused of not naming the gun in my videos, I have now named the gun in my video. It's a 120 caliber gun. Rate of fire on this is actually pretty good at 7.69 rounds per minute, which is actually pretty good. Average penetration is 259, 326, and 120. Average damage on this is 400, 400, and 515. Accuracy on this gun is actually pretty good at 0.32 at 100 meters. So basically, where you aim your shell is where that shell is going to go. 1.9 aiming times aiming time second. So 1.9 seconds, you have your target locked, which is actually pretty good for a Tier 9 tank. That's actually one of the fastest aiming times in a Tier 9 tank. It carries AP, APCR, and HE. Same top gun that the Tortoise has. So that's the gun itself. That's not too bad. Now, I would not use this tank as a brawler. I'll tell you that right now. It does not have any armor on it. Now, I did one shot in the same tank, the FV4004 Conway. Now, I'm just going to call this a Conway. On the Conway, I did one shot another Conway. He had 100% health, and I ammo-racked him, and he was dead. And it surprised the hell out of me, and I think it surprised the hell out of him. But I did one shot him in one of my games that I played, and that kind of made me a little bit leery of this tank. If I could do this to the tank, imagine what the other Tier 9 tanks, and we were in Tier 10 battle. Imagine what the FV, let's just call it the Death Star. Everybody calls it the Death Star. The Tier 10, the FV215B183. Everybody calls it the Death Star. It's this tank right here. I'll go over this tank a little bit later. I don't have it set up yet, but I have it researched because they've done some modifications on this. But this tank can hurt you in a regular battle. But let's take a look at the counterpart, the Tortoise. And it's the same gun. I'll just blow that up for you. And as you can see, it's the same gun. The only difference between the gun on the Tortoise and the gun on the Conway is the Tortoise has a higher rate of fire. Does the same damage, same pen. Accuracy's a little bit better at 0.31 at 100 meters, and the aiming time's a little quicker at 1.7 compared to 1.9. So that's the only difference between these Tier 10s, other than close this, come on, and the only other difference is, of course, this is a front mounted gun, so you have to point the tank to where you want to shoot it, where the other one has a turret on it. But overall, this tank has a lot more armor Has 500 more hit points, a little less horsepower. Only goes 20 kilometers per hour, so it's it's about 15 kilometers slower than the other one. So that's comparing it to, that's apples to apples, tier 9 in the same line. And like I said, this has the turret. It's not the front mounted gun. So it depends on how you look and how you play this tank is how you end up doing in this league. Once again, I would not use it as a brawler at all. It has no armor. It's a good flanker tank. It's a good sniper tank. If you stay behind the heavies, you can do a lot of damage for the heavies in front of you and help damage the tanks that they are attacking. And working together, you actually end up doing pretty good. I've enjoyed playing this tank so far. Now, I have done something a little bit different with this. Of course, I carry the gun rammer on this, which gives me a 10% to my reload time. Carry vents, of course, on this, which gives me a 5% to all my cruise skills. But on this tank, instead of carrying the binocs or camouflage net or something a little bit different, or stabilizers, I'm actually using coated optics. This gives me 10% view range even when I'm moving. Now with binocs, it gives me a 25% view range, but only when I'm stationary after 3 seconds. So up to 500 meters, which is the maximum any tank can see. So this gives me a little bit, that 10% more view range in it, so I can see the tanks before they see me. I can stop hiding and do what I need to do. Use the terrain to hide my tank and go around, or what we have. So I'm trying it, and it's worked out great for me so far. So it depends on how you play your tanks and how you're going to play the tank. I'm using this as a brawler. I'm not using this as a brawler. I'm using this as a flanker, a sniper, basically as a TD would be used. So the coated optics is actually probably a better choice than the binocs for me overall. So I do recommend that you check when this tank comes out. Check them out. And if you're a good tank destroyer and you love playing tank destroyer so far, I love playing this tank. When it comes out, when 9.5 comes out, I will be going down this line and actually getting this tank. I've enjoyed it that much, but you got to play it correctly. If you don't know how to play TD, I recommend with you staying with the heavies. So now I do have this tank in action, so we'll take a look at it in action. I'll see you all on the other side. Hi guys, and welcome to World of Tanks replays. I'm Buddy1927, and today I'm on the test server 9.5 patch, and I'm in the new British TD, the Tier 9, the FV4004 Conway. From here on out, I'm just calling it the Conway, but this is the tank where I'm in. One Porvakova, and as you can see, we're actually in a Tier 9 battle, which is doing pretty good. Now, I've enjoyed playing this tank so far. I've played a couple rounds in it, and we're going to see what this tank can do on this map. And as you can see, this tank is accurate. I actually had a good shot. Oh yeah, this is encounter, so we don't. This is in base capture, but it's encounter. And we're going to see how this tank can actually do pretty good. Now that T-34 is not stupid enough. T-34-3 is not stupid enough to stick his head up again. But you can see how accurate this gun is. Because this tank doesn't have much armor, I'm kind of hanging back a little bit. It does have a good view range. I do have coated optics on this tank, so you can see that I still have. He's down below the ridge. Now I'm going to move up a little bit, try to use the train to give me some cover. the other advantage we have on this in this game is there actually no arty on this game. Kind of led in the other ways. Kind of having the other tank spot ahead of me. And we're actually pushing up the 1-2 line pretty good right now. Yes, I know it's on E7 is the cap, and we're going up to the 1-2 line, but as you can see there's other tanks there. So our goal is to secure this 1-2 line. There was a bunch of other tanks going up the hill, and if we can go up the 1-2 line, and we can come in behind those tanks that are attacking the ones on top of the hill, and actually do better job and surround these tanks. And as you see, we've pushed through. Got no angle on those tanks. Ooh. Took him out. Did 669 damage on him, as you can see. And we got our first kill. Sometimes going up the 1-2 line on this map, on an encounter map, actually works pretty good, especially if you got a bunch. I had 4 other tanks with me. We pushed up through and we did an excellent job. Now we're actually coming in behind them. So we do have a good advantage. I want to get behind this Conqueror because I don't want to block him. Once he gets down, I'm going to get up there. Nobody has a view, so I'm just going to get out of this guy's way. That's the only problem. You have this choke point. And as you can see, this gun is accurate. I hit the object 416 for 416 damage. It surprised the hell out of him. He thought he was protected, and he wasn't. This is how accurate that gun is. Okay, he's been taken out. Now it's just a matter of rolling. The object's been taken out, and that's game. So you can see how maneuverable this tank is and how accurate the gun is on this tank. This wasn't the best game I played, but it still was a victory. And as you can see, the tank did perform pretty well. I've enjoyed playing. I've only played about 7 games in it, and every game I have survived. Only thing about this tank, the only major downfall to this tank is it has no armor. It has a good accurate gun on it. It has good penetration on it, and does a good damage roll on it. As you can see, I actually hit that one tank for, I was at 669. So that's actually pretty good in tier 10 match. A tier 9 match. Sorry guys. I've enjoyed playing this tank so far. This is still on the test server, and when 9.5 gets released, I am definitely going to be going down the British tank destroyer line. Keep watching out for, I'll be doing some more reviews on tanks on 9.5, so keep checking them out. If you like this video, please like us on YouTube. If you have any comments about this video, please leave it on my YouTube video down below. Also, if you haven't done yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. That way you know when the latest videos I do come out. I'd like to thank you again for watching, and do me a favor, save some tanks on the battlefield for me, because I'm right now busy on the test server. So have a good day. Bye.